Welcome to Building My Legacy podcast. This podcast is designed for leaders and entrepreneurs who want to leave a legacy and will provide strategies that focus upon key elements for legacy creation, determining your desired impact and its benefit, increasing your legacy's reach by engaging key stakeholders, planning, prioritizing, and executing. Here's your host, Dr. Lois Sonstegard.
Welcome, everybody, to today's Building My Legacy podcast. I have with me today Luke Hyde. Luke is the founder of Drive Digital Advertising and the Small Business Digital Roadmap. He works especially with small entrepreneurial businesses, and he has amazingly been featured in Yahoo Finance, IT Business Net, Digital Journal, and Daily Herald. He has a program that's it's an all-in-one video program in digital marketing for small businesses. So you've really focused on small business and their growth and their marketing. So tell me a little bit about how you got on this journey, what brought you here, and where you're trying to go next.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation. And basically, how I started a lot of these is I actually never planned on getting into digital marketing. It kind of just fell into my lap. I didn't really have an entrepreneurial spirit during high school. I was actually a very good student. And I thought I was maybe going to go into something like engineering or something in the medical field, but I never found anything that really piqued my interest that much. So going through high school, I was a janitor at my local church. And while I was kind of sweeping and mopping the floors, I decided maybe I should kind of spend my time doing something a little bit more productive than just listening to music. So what I did was actually listen to podcasts, which is why I love being on podcasts now. So I started listening to podcasts about just ways to make money as a young person. I was only like 17, 18 years old at the time. And eventually I came across the idea of online marketing for small businesses. Now, I didn't really know people that were turning this into a business, but I was just fascinated with the topic. I loved the idea of being able to get laser targeted with your online ads or be able to help people with lower budgets still grow using more cost-effective online marketing traffic sources, etc. So I started learning about all this. And eventually, I did come to find that there were a market of people who were willing and able to pay for the knowledge that I was kind of gathering. So I started with just telling my friends and family about, hey, I'm starting to do freelance work as an online marketer. I'm learning this stuff. And I started to do that kind of like as a side hustle while I was still being a janitor. And then in October of 2019, I formally started Drive Digital Advertising. And since then, we've really been growing. It's been great. We're expanding our team this year, hiring more people so we can hopefully help more people and have a bigger impact on the world. Because my big thing is I really do want to have a positive impact on the world. And that's why I love working with small businesses. Because, it's not some corporation where all we're doing is, making them an extra couple bucks, not really changing lives, but helping small businesses. This is for a lot of them, their livelihood, and we're able to help them grow. So it's something that I really love doing.
So when you do that, Luke, small businesses are challenged with a lot of things. What do you see are some of the biggest problems that small business has with their marketing?
Sure. So I think a lot of times some people are kind of stuck in the old ways of doing things, which is totally okay. However, we're all kind of starting to realize that.
What's the old way, by the way? How do you define the old way?
Oh, sure. I would just say the old way is not being online, not having a website, not using social media, not having, a Google My Business page or something. So I guess, pre-computers, I would say, which is totally okay for a lot of people. And I know a lot of people have built successful businesses that way. But especially nowadays where, for example, being shut down, businesses couldn't really communicate as well with people without being online. So I think people are starting to realize the importance of being online. And really, the easiest ways for small businesses to get started is simply that. They just need to get started, because there's a big difference between somebody who has a website and somebody who doesn't have a website. Even if the website isn't, the craziest thing in the world, it still is better than someone who doesn't have anything. So I really encourage people to build a strong digital foundation. And that's one of the things we cover in my program, is setting up that foundation that's successful. So that's setting up things like your website, your Google My Business, different social media pages that are relevant to your ideal customer. And those are just a couple examples.
So what would be the first most important thing that a small business could do to get started with in the online space? I don't know things they can do. What's most important?
Yeah. I definitely think it's hard to say what's the most important, because there's so many different types of things that they can do, so many different types of businesses out there. However, I can say the easiest and the simplest way to get started, which could honestly translate into being the most important, is making sure that you have an up-to-date, accurate, and fleshed out Google My Business profile. So that can honestly be kind of like a mini website. You can include your phone number. You can include links to your website. You can talk about the different services you offer. It allows people to they could communicate with you now. They can book appointments with you. It has a lot of different features. And that's what allows people to say, for example, if you're a dentist and people look up dentist near me or dentist in X city, then you're going to be able to show up on Google if you have a Google My Business profile. However, if you don't, then the chances of you showing up when people are searching is a lot lower.
Isn't that the truth? Something as simple as having a Google business presence, right?
Yeah.
So after that, then what would be the second most important thing that a person could do, a small business?
Yeah. So I would say the second one is I would definitely recommend having some type of website. Like I said, it doesn't have to be very crazy. However, you could do something more of like a landing page, for example. That's just a one-page website, just getting people to try and do one action, maybe book a call with you or just order online or something. And the different things that a website can do for your business obviously comes down to the type of business that you have. However, that's something very important, and kind of tied is starting to use different things like social media, because for different types of businesses, there are different social medias that can be better. If you are working with business to business, for example, then being on TikTok, a new up and coming social media platform, might not be super relevant because your business customers are probably not on that platform. However, being on something like LinkedIn is very important, because that shows your potential customers that you are a serious business, and that's just a great place to network with that type of people. So it's important to figure out the type of customer that you are trying to reach and where those people are, and then start producing content that could actually speak to them and get them to want to work with you.
Okay, so I think a lot of small business owners are challenged by social media.
Yeah.
What do I do? Where do I focus? What's important? What is not important, right? So what advice do you have in that area?
Oh, definitely. And I think it kind of ties back to what I said. The first thing is to come up with like a customer avatar. That's what I like to do with all the businesses that we work with. Okay, who is your ideal customer? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Is it, do you help both? Is it age, gender, the things that they like, interests? Different types of things, geographic locations. Figure that out. Your ideal customer avatar is kind of a name for it. And then from there, you can determine which social media platforms they would be on. So like I said, if you're dealing with Joe, who runs a technology company, and he's not going to be on something like TikTok because that's a younger demographic, or something like Pinterest, which is more artsy and crafts and you sell things online. Like I said, he's probably going to be on a platform like LinkedIn or Facebook, which are a little bit more professional. So once you come up with your avatar of who you're trying to become your customer, then figure out the different types of social medias. And I mean, you might not know what it is, but you could do a simple Google search and just find a little bit of data. And it's real easy to kind of figure out. You can just see from there, oh yeah, this is a younger demographic. This is a little bit more professional or older, etc. And then once you get on that platform, like I said, it's very important to produce content that is relevant and interesting to your potential customers. So for example, if you are say you are a dentist, we work with a decent amount of dentists. You can talk about your service on your social media pages. You can give testimonials on your pages. You could give discounts, for example. But what you wouldn't want to be doing is maybe boring them with all of the details, or another good example is you could give off accolades. Hey, look at, this conference we went to. We had a lot of fun. And those are the things that you want your potential customer to engage with. And the second, I guess the next part of that, which is very important, social media has the word social in it for a reason. These platforms benefit you if you're being social. So don't just worry about your profile. Actively go out and engage with others in the community. And that's how you're really going to be able to thrive on social media, I'd say.
That takes time. It takes a lot.
It does.
So how do you help people manage their time to be able to do that?
Sure. So one tip that we recommend and kind of something I recommend is putting together specifically for social media, maybe something like a content calendar. So what you can do is you can plan out, okay, maybe I'm going to have 3 pillars of posting. So those are 3 different types of posts that we're going to do. Maybe one is an example of our work or an example of something that we've done. Another is just like a fun fact or something. And then another one is maybe a testimonial. So you have those 3 different types of posts. Now, what you can do is kind of create a framework or basically something you could copy and paste almost, like this is a template of the type of post. And then that cuts down the time that you spend making each post. And then when you input that into the calendar, you schedule it out. So you could actually create maybe 10 posts at a time and then say, okay, I'm going to post this on Tuesday, this on Thursday, then the next week, Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. Keeps you organized. And like I said, you can plan ahead so that you don't have to be worrying about, oh, shoot, I missed a post this week or something, because you do want to be consistent with posting on social media. That leads to growth, leads to a better response. And even though it can take time, those are just a couple of things that we see our clients and we help them do to help them manage their time a little bit more effectively.
So Luke, with all of what you do and with the clients that you work with, what brings you the biggest joy? What is it about doing what you do that just makes your heart sing and makes you want to get up every day?
Yeah, I would say the thing that makes me the happiest is, like I mentioned in the very beginning, seeing the positive impact that our work is having on these businesses. For example, last year, at the end of last year, we got the opportunity to work with a local winery. Now, this winery received a grant from the government to fund our services and fund some advertising. Wasn't a lot. It was like $1,000 a budget of advertising. But we worked with them, and come to find out, they were actually, due to the virus, they were actually kind of at threat of going out of business. So we worked with them, and in the month of December, they'd been around for about 3 years. And through our advertising efforts, we brought them so many sales that they had their biggest month in business in December that they'd ever had in business. So that was just kind of through our help and a little bit of others. They were allowed to, they were able to stay afloat and continue into this new year, which was awesome. I got a testimonial video from them. I got to meet them in person, and that really, really made me happy. And those type of experiences are definitely what make me the happiest.
Luke, where do you see the biggest opportunities down the road? You see a lot of small businesses, you work with them. Where do you see the opportunities coming for them?
So I would say, do you mean opportunities like opportunities of them getting new business, or opportunity? What do you mean by that?
Opportunities in terms of growing their businesses. So that would be generating new revenue.
Oh, sure. So not to keep saying the same thing, but I do think that online marketing is always evolving. It's always going to be changing. I really do believe that. But no matter what, I can only see online marketing becoming more important. I think people are starting to realize more that online marketing is here to stay, and just online in general, the internet, it's here to stay. It's going to become more and more important into people's businesses. So whether it's online marketing or just embracing other pieces of technology, maybe inputting a CRM in their business, or, maybe some type of online payment system or something, embracing online parts of the business, I truly believe are going to be the opportunities that are going to allow these businesses to grow into the future. And right now, since some of them are still new, they can be expensive. But I am expecting in the future, as they become more normalized, they're going to be reduced in cost. And the sooner I think you can get into it, the better, because, maybe 5 years down the road, probably a lot of people are going to have more, a lot more businesses are going to have websites than they do now. But if you can get your customers now and turn them into a lifelong customer, they're not going to have the opportunity to even want to try out these other people who start getting online a couple of years from now.
Isn't that the truth? Getting the customer early on and then keeping them as a lifetime customer. So what are some of the suggestions you have for people about how to keep a customer for life?
Oh, sure. So, we deal with a lot of helping customers, helping our clients generate customers. That's a big thing, generating first-time customers for us. However, we do work a lot with helping them retain these customers. So, for example, something that we do for our businesses and something I talk about in my program is implementing email and text marketing. So this is a great way. I'm sure probably a lot of people listening maybe get spammy emails from people constantly from stores they've been to years, in the future. However, if you're using email and text marketing effectively, you're actually sending out messages that people would want to receive. These are great ways to get people to stay with you longer, because you can get their contact information once, and then you could potentially send them an email, once every month for the next year, next 3 years, or whatever. And that can continue to bring them in over and over again. So there's other things, maybe providing different discounts or sales or different things to keep customers engaged. But I think that is a big thing, is just keeping them engaged by having, maybe quality service. If you provide a quality service to your customers, most likely they're not going to want to try somebody else.
Tell me something else. Texting is becoming a really important part of a marketing campaign. How do you alter, or should you think about changing your message from email to texting?
Oh, sure.
It tends to be shorter, but are there things that you look at specifically that are different?
Yeah, so I think this can sometimes make or break a text and email marketing campaign, because you do have to differentiate which type of content you're going to send on each, because the platforms are very different. For example, if you are, say, a restaurant or something, and you have maybe a monthly newsletter or something that, is telling you all the different things that are happening this month, all the different events or whatever, this really long message, again, you can't send that via text because it's shorter, but also people check their phone a lot more frequently. So you only want to be sending them the most urgent and most important information to their phone, because that's, I would say, the closest connection you can kind of get to somebody. So you don't want to break that trust by sending them, constant updates that aren't really super urgent or super important. That can go to email, where people are still likely to check it out. However, it's not as personal, I would say. So you don't have to worry as much as people getting offended, like, oh, I'm getting 2 emails a week, shoot. But if you're getting 2 texts a week from somebody that's, just like, hey, come to our store. Hey, come to our store. We miss you or whatever. That can start to kind of break that personal trust that you're building. So knowing what type of content to send to each one of those is very important for a successful text and email marketing campaign.
How do you define urgent for texting?
Sure. So, I guess I would just say again, it comes down to the business. The different types of businesses have different types of urgent messaging. But I would say urgent are things that would be the most important. So obvious example, say if you are a dentist, you could send somebody a text message saying, hey, your appointment is in an hour, just a reminder. Because if you send that to somebody's email, it might get through, they might miss it. It's important. That's urgent for them. But if it's something, again, like a newsletter or something, that's just a typical example. That's not as urgent. But if you're maybe a restaurant or something that might be more urgent is a very timely sale saying, hey guys, we're having, 15% off, but it's only this weekend. So, if you want to stop by, make sure to do it, use this code or something. So again, it's another sense, adding the sense of urgency to it. And that's what could differentiate why you would want to send it via text versus email.
I think the whole concept of how do you message, for whom, for what, becomes such an important thing, doesn't it? And
definitely,
if you're in marketing all the time, it's hard to keep that straight. So it's wonderful to have your perspective, Luke. One of the things that you talk about is the all-in-one video program in digital marketing. Can you share with the audience what that is?
Yeah, sure. So this is a program I developed for small businesses, and it's called the Small Business Digital Roadmap. And like I mentioned a lot, small businesses have a lot to deal with. You've said this as well. They have a lot to deal with. And unfortunately, even though online marketing is very important, a lot of these people don't have maybe the budget or the time or the experience to learn everything that they need to do, learn how to do everything cost effectively. So that's why they might hire us out. But still, there are companies that don't have the budget to hire a marketing team like myself. So to try and really increase the impact and help as many small businesses as I can, I developed this program. Basically, you can join the program and then you're going to have access to almost 50 plus marketing videos that go down into different modules. We cover social media, we cover setting up your online foundation, and these are much more cost-effective strategies. You learn exactly how to do it the right way, and this way you could do it yourself at a lower cost instead of hiring somebody else out and paying more. But you still get to know how to do it in a time-effective way, so you're not wasting time. The videos are only 5 to 15 minutes long. So again, it's keeping it concise. That's what our members really like. And you don't have to worry about scrounging all over the internet to find the content, because that is one thing about online marketing. There are tons and tons of different content out there. So like I said, it's a condensed version so people can learn exactly what they need to know, how to implement it to get started with their small business. And in addition to the program, something that's kind of setting this apart that I really am trying to emphasize is we have a exclusive Facebook community. So if people join, they're going to be able to have access to the community. And in this community, we're going to be answering more specific questions to these businesses. Because of course, I couldn't make a video on social media for every single type of business, because that would just take up too much time. I don't want to waste everybody's valuable time while they're going through it. So what you can do is if you have a specific question, you can post it in the group. One of my team members could answer it. Or even better, I'm hoping that the community that we build of other business owners, they can interact with one another and say, hey, I'm a dentist on the other side of the country. This is how I dealt with that marketing problem. So we're actually starting to build a community. And I'm going to be holding weekly live meetings in this group to then again answer specific questions. So you can put them in there and I'm going to be answering them one-on-one. So you get a little bit more one-on-one support.
Got it. So Luke, our time is almost up. Things we've missed, thoughts that you want to make sure that you leave with the audience.
Sure. I would say one thing that's very important is that, we've kind of talked about it a lot today, but some business owners they're a little nervous to get into online marketing because it definitely can be a lot and it can be scary. And I know a lot of small business owners have burned by trying other online marketing sources because there's definitely a right way, but there's also a wrong way to market online. So the biggest thing I would say is that you just need to get started. Really, that is the biggest thing. You need to get started and be consistent with putting in quality effort, trying different things and seeing what works. And of course, working with somebody to help you along the way obviously can save you some time, save you some money. But if you get started with online marketing, I truly believe that it will be worth your time and your money.
You know what, with everything, it's a matter of getting started, isn't it? That makes the biggest difference. And that's
of course, yeah.
Sort and to learn. So Luke, it's wonderful to have you and to know about you as a resource. We will have information about Luke and his company in our show notes. And Luke, I believe we have the information about your course as well that will be in the show notes for you. So we welcome you to contact Luke and to get more information about digital marketing, especially for small businesses. So Luke, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you, everybody, for being a part of Building My Legacy podcast today. Remember to visit our website at buildtomorrow.com and also our social media sites as well at buildtomorrow.com. Thanks much.
You've been listening to Building My Legacy podcast with Dr. Lois Sonstegard. To book your appointment with Dr. Sonstegard, visit www.buildtomorrow.com.